So, Mystic unfortunately had to go, so I'm sure quite a few of you would, go in and say, well, we'll leave this discussion. If you want to stay, though, we have a few other interesting things to say. I think we do. Don't you think?
Oh, yes.
All right.
I have one topic in particular I want to talk about, but I'll wait for that.
Of course.
It's in the Fifth Palace.
All right.
That too.
All right. It was fantastic having Mystic.
Oh, yes, definitely.
But, yep.
No doubt.
Anyways, let's go into the different dungeons that are in the game. We have Kamoshida's okay, let's rank.
Now's your chance, Mir.
Now's your chance.
Oh,
you can go in and bash in.
Let's talk about the real fucking order of what palace is best to worst.
Before we do this, let's go in and talk about the best, so that we start off with a little bit of a positive message, rather than just go immediately say, this game sucks, after Veer goes, even though we all know it's the greatest game.
Oh yeah, I hate Persona.
Yeah.
I hate Persona.
I mean, it is still my favorite game of all time. I know, Veer, you love sucking Bloodborne dick, but
I love sucking Dark Souls dick.
You just love sucking dick.
As soon
Mystic
as
come back to Scott Control.
As soon as Mystic leaves, he goes right back to our usual shenanigans.
God.
Alright, perfect.
Oh, this degeneracy.
Alright.
What was your guys' favorite dungeon? Casino, I'm guessing?
I already said it's the casino, and I explained my reasons. So, Lester, you go in, explain why you think the casino is the best. I mean, why you think whatever dungeon is the best. I won't judge you. I will totally. I mean, I definitely won't judge you. Go ahead. I love you.
Honestly, it's hard to choose a favorite.
Oh, you indecisive.
That's what I think about your
Go!
opinion.
I mean,
Go! Break your indecisiveness.
The obvious answer would probably be the casino, but I don't know, they were all pretty great in their own right.
Okay, you indecisive asshole. Veer, what do you think is the greatest one? I'm kidding, I love you, Lester.
The casino. It was very fun.
Okay, so we're all
We
just
love you,
gonna just
Lester,
go
don't
and
worry.
say the casino's the greatest one.
The casino. The casino for multiple reasons.
Shadowside is hot.
Repeat that? I didn't hear you correctly. What the hell did you say?
Nothing at all.
Okay. A lot of people don't really seem to like the Shido's ship, the Ark. I personally loved it.
I liked it.
It was second to the casino.
A lot of people hate it because it takes too long, and other people thought it was very unclear. I don't know what they were thinking. I thought that it was a little clear, pretty clear, aside from one or two things.
I will admit that it was pretty long, but I guess it makes sense.
How long did it take you guys?
It took me... I can't remember how long it took me, but it took me a little bit longer than some of the other dungeons.
I did it all in one day, so I think it took me around 4 hours, maybe.
I heard a lot
altogether.
I heard a lot of people complain that some of these dungeons, like 7, were a little too linear. Linearity.
7 was linear.
I don't really. It's like, I know some people say like the 4th dungeon felt really linear progression. I don't really take issue whether it's
the fuck is this, Dark Souls?
Linear or open-ended in terms of design. Either way, I think it works. So I don't really take an issue if it's linear or not. But
this is the first time since Persona 2 since we've had actual dungeons.
Dungeons, yeah. Because 3 and 4, they were randomly generated, and now they are fully fledged dungeons. And I think overall, it's definitely quite a good bit stronger in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But regardless, I greatly enjoyed stuff like the... I greatly enjoyed most of the dungeons. 4 was my least favorite because I thought that there were a few technical issues, such as the game actually freezing on me. I know some other people didn't experience those issues, but that... The least favorite dungeon to you is because of technical issues. Because honestly, in terms of design, I liked basically all of them. 5 had a few irritating things.
Yeah,
I think the mini-boss section dragged a little bit too much, and I know a lot of people really thought the mini-bosses were too hard. I personally didn't die, but I was intimidated. So I did one time backtrack to go back to the save point, just in case, just so I didn't die.
Dungeon 5 was like the only one where I needed 2 days to finish the infiltration round.
It's a little too long, I think. I think that's...
Yeah.
The second...
There's a list of issues of 5.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
At least for me.
Because I know I know
Go ahead, you can-
and it's
you can
fine.
do-
Go ahead.
This has been built up in me forever, and I tried expressing it for a while, but
Here it comes.
Space Station, the 5th dungeon, the things that are wrong with it are just fucking obnoxious. The level design's fine. I'm okay with how it's structured. I'm okay with looking around for a key card or finding the right manager to take it from. That's fine, you know? Cool. But the fucking mini-bosses that go with it, Rekarma, and they all just heal each other until the very end.
They did use Rekarma. I just took out all the...
There was like...
Yeah, it was pretty annoying.
Yeah, the mini-boss is fine, but it's when you have 5 mooks all using Rekarma after each other, it takes like 2 minutes just to do that.
I actually didn't have
And
too
there's
hard
so
of a time
many of them.
because I knew that as soon as I knew that they were using it once, I was just like, oh, so I'll just take them out at the same time, and I just...
yeah, it was essentially my strategy too.
That's what I learned after a while, yeah.
I learned...
But man, it's just... He'll summon more of them, it's just annoying, and... But that's not really the worst part of it, was just the enemy design inside. Because at that point, okay. This is kind of the issue I have with not just Atlas game, but just turn-based games in general, is that you don't really know the weaknesses of enemies up front, so... Imagine going up against an enemy who reflects physical and takes out your entire party like that.
That's the one thing. I actually knew... I know exactly what you're talking about. I remembered from Persona 3, SMT... Persona 3, 4, SMT... 4, and Apocalypse, I memorized that specific... I forgot how to pronounce the name.
It's the blue elephant, I think. Or not the blue elephant, but the one that looks like a clay doll from Pokemon.
Yeah, I'll put it on screen on the podcast. Probably, maybe, if I'm not lazy, if it's on a good day. I mean, yes, I'll definitely put it up there. But I actually remembered in almost every SMT game he reflects physical, so...
okay,
that was just...
Sly, let me hit you with this, though.
In that particular moment.
Let me hit you with this, though. What if
it's a first playthrough? Oh yeah, then it sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah. It's like after Persona 3, they allowed Fuka to be able to analyze the enemy. I don't quite understand why. And Rise had the ability. They dropped it completely in 5, so it makes analyzing the enemies a little bit more challenging. Of course, if you have the Persona, then
what I end up doing most of the time, or like when I encounter a new enemy, is like I just try experimenting and try not to use like very hard hitting attacks.
That's typically the best strategy.
That's probably what I should have done.
And you know what I also did?
Yeah, try a regular attack, see if that works. Try some fire attacks, ice attacks,
and
all that.
You know what I typically did, Veer? Because if you actually get the Persona, whether through fusion or demon negotiation, the way that I did it was I saw an enemy. I didn't immediately start, just trying to attack it a bunch. I would just try to do my best to be able to see if I can find a weakness and knock them all down, and then get the demon negotiation, and then, get the Persona, then learn about the weaknesses that way. I think
because once you obtain them, it tells you all the weaknesses.
Yeah, I think the reason
why
they placed emphasis on why they didn't allow for you to be able to analyze it is to place emphasis on trying to go in and do Persona fusions or do the demon negotiation. I think there already is enough of an incentive, so it might not have been necessary, but it does further emphasize those particular mechanics, which, in my opinion, it wasn't the worst thing. It's irritating when you have someone who reflects a light or magic attack, or a light or dark attack, and...
light, dark, and physical are all like cancer.
I mean, at that point,
when they're being reflected back at you.
You wouldn't be using instant kill attacks when you're trying to get them as demons.
Unless you're an idiot.
So that shouldn't be the problem. But it's like if you use a hard hitting attack and they reflect it, it could definitely lead to less than ideal results.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of. I think it places emphasis on the other mechanics, so it's not the worst thing, but I could definitely see why someone would have a little bit of a hard time with it.
You guys are more used to it than someone like me who doesn't really play much Mega 10 games to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I live and breathe Mega 10 games.
You guys play that more than I do, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not very knowledgeable in the field, unfortunately.
I honestly can't tell you like what the last non-Atlas game I've played was.
Yeah, well, the last one you played... last non one. Okay, the last one for me was just Nier Automata, which is a good game. Automata, either one. I think Automata sounds way cooler, in my opinion. But, that is...
You're fucking stupid.
You know what? You're fucking stupid.
Far tomato.
Far tomato.
Tomato.
That's for probably another discussion. So, we all talk about one of the, I guess, biggest twists of the game and who the best boy is.
Akechi.
And no, it isn't that Yusuke's gay.
Akechi.
It's Akechi.
Yusuke is a good boy.
Yusuke is second best boy to me.
Wasn't it so sad when Ryuji died, man?
We all knew it was dead. We all knew that.
Such a huge twist. I never saw it coming.
But yeah, that one
saw
particular moment really made me like Ryuji. It's just like he's willing to just not care about his own life. He just wants to save his friends. He's a good boy. He has a great heart. We love him.
I went from not
a wonderful boy.
He is a wonderful.
I went from not caring anymore to oh my god.
Every single boy in the main party is a beautiful boy.
They're so good.
And if people say Akechi isn't a beautiful boy, they are objectively wrong.
They're fucking wrong.
But yeah, it's like a lot of people draw a lot of comparisons between Adachi and Akechi because they are both the particular person that betrayed you. And
you see, the thing is, when you fight Akechi, the way his speech and stuff,
he just doesn't give a shit anymore.
The only thing is,
it sounded kind of similar.
There are similarities, but in terms of their basic motivation, they are completely different.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
Yes.
With Adachi, he had completely given up on the truth. He is the kind of person...
He stopped caring,
and he wanted to cause everybody else to suffer because he thought that, life sucks. And so everybody should understand that the only
life sucks,
truth
so everybody else should just fucking die.
Sucks. Adachi felt like he understood.
Meanwhile, Akechi cared too much.
And the truth.
Akechi cared too much.
Akechi is no.
Honestly, I'm okay with that.
Honestly, Akechi, he wanted love and affection, and in terms of his entire life, he never got that. And so he wanted.
Guy.
It's like for a person who never had any parents, any friends, any person who actually cared for him, that can fuck you up, especially when you're a lot younger. And in terms of his particular situation, it's like Shido is basically evil. But,
especially considering the fact that, he's the bastard child of Shido.
Yeah,
he himself was an accident.
Akechi did all of that, and, partially for revenge, but he also wanted to feel useful by someone. He wanted to be useful to someone. He wanted to at least be admired. He wanted to have love and affection, and that drive is what ultimately, caused him to do all the things that he did. He wanted to be useful by Shido, so he has this ability. He suddenly got the ability to summon a persona in this other world, and if the only way to be useful to him is to kill people, then that was what Akechi thought would be the best thing. And that's where he was wrong. And that's where, it's ultimately, obviously, killing is not... I think...
Who would win, Akechi or Door?
In my personal, professional opinion, killing is a little bit bad. Just a bit. Just a bit. And I think...
killing is a little...
I mean, it's a little bit overrated. Just a little bit. But,
killing people's fun. What are you talking about? On a daily basis.
But here's the thing. With Akechi, he wanted to have that sort of affection, and he never got it. And that's what honestly made me kind of sympathize with him. It's like it didn't excuse his actions, ultimately, but it made him feel like a normal person, because everybody wants empathy. Everyone wants to feel like they belong. And ultimately, Akechi never found that. And, by the time the protagonist, they all found him, he was already far gone. He was already too neck deep into his plan, into the kind of situation that he was in. He couldn't just back out. Or at least in his mind, he couldn't back out. Because he had gone so far, he had almost achieved what he wanted to do.
He'd killed so many people.
And that's what makes him, honestly, it's like I love Adachi. I think that he's a fantastic villain, and I think that it's a very good use of the theme of the truth, but I honestly feel like Akechi is the more realistic character. I honestly felt like he is a very human type person, especially with how he was just motivated by a lack of empathy, and he wanted it. And that's why I love his character so much. Mm-hmm. It's like other people say that he's
He's
not
a really good
realistic. I
character.
completely disagree with that. Some people say he's not.
Ah!
The only problem is I really would have liked to have seen him get the redemption that he deserved. It was like,
I know. I was like really saddened by his death. Like it just.
He
well,
deserves
some
better.
people think that he's not dead. So
No.
because we haven't seen a body.
He has to be.
We have no. The only thing is, Lester,
Because he died in.
but we haven't seen a body. And you know what happens in fiction when you don't see a body? They come back.
He's alive.
Honestly, it's like either in
I
P5R
don't-
or
No.
Persona 5. If they wanted him to be dead, they would have shown a body.
Oh my god. They're gonna do something if they ever remake the game.
Honestly, and you know,
Like what they
Just
did
let
with
him
I
stay
Story.
dead.
thought that they would like have an
Honestly.
Akechi Palace, but apparently, I actually brought that idea up.
I
on
hear
Reddit.
that was planned.
That wasn't that
No,
that
wouldn't work.
couldn't work because
Yeah.
Because Persona users can't have palaces.
Persona users cannot have palaces. Someone pointed out to me, I'm like, oh dang. But you know, someone pointed that out to me on Reddit, and I was because I brought up that possibility, and I was really sad. But you know, I think that there might be at least a moment where something happens in Memento, some sort of distortion. Maybe not a palace, but at least some excuse to be able to go in and see Ketchy. At the very least, see some resolution. Because honestly, the resolution that he got, they could leave it that way, and it probably would be fine. I just found it very unsatisfying for a finishing art for his character. It felt very bittersweet, and it didn't feel very conclusive.
I want there to be if they ever remake the game, I want there to be an optional side quest afterwards
Yeah.
to bring him back into the party.
I kind of want that too.
Bullet wounds and all, I want that. Like, just give me him in a bandage or whatever.
At the very least, I think that if they ever wanted to do something, there is the whole month of after Valentine's Day that they could use to be able to have at least one thing where, you know, either he gets arrested and he has to pay for
whole
his
month
crimes,
worth of best
But-
boy.
at the very least go through rehabilitation.
But really, I just don't see how they could do that.
I don't know either,
I mean, yeah, there's no-
but you know,
There's
they might be able to invent some
there's
new
no
rule.
body, but
They
like
could invent a new
they keep on implying
They could invent a new rule.
like that he's dead.
Time paradox,
Time paradox.
Lester.
Like for one thing, Futaba just couldn't feel his pulse anymore. I mean, sense his pulse, and the reason they keep on saying that he's gone missing is because, well, he's dead in the the metaverse. So
But he would have
There-
repeated,
of
course
but
there'd
his
be no
body would have shown
body
up in
that'd
the
show
real
up.
world. That's the only thing.
You're right.
really,
Yes, because
His body should have appeared.
every other person who was killed in the metaverse, they show up dead.
no. That's because their shadows were the one that was killed.
Oh,
That's why.
that is technically
Yeah.
true.
So
That is technically true,
Yeah.
but
I was arguing with someone about this on a video, like on a YouTube video,
Oh.
and I brought up that logic, and people keep on using that, but like I just don't see like how. Again, like I don't know how they could bring a Akechi back, like whether it be from like a Persona 5 Arena or a remake or whatever. I just don't see how it's possible.
we'll have to
Why is-
see. And that's totally understandable. But you know, they could invent some new rule that, and you know, because we don't know, we actually really don't know what happens if someone is killed in the metaverse, and we also didn't see it happen. So there might be some inconsistency. Maybe there's some rule that they could invent to be able to bring him back. Ultimately, you know, at the same time, I'd like him back. At the same time, it would feel like a little bit, you know, it's just like they brought him back for fan service, and it's just like, okay, cool, but I only wish that because I think the resolution he got was a little, I mean, you know, he did say, he did go in, he basically just went in and shut everyone out. Or, you know, he was also
Yeah.
trying to get them to move forward with their mission and not be able to go back and look at him because he viewed himself as a lost cause. In which case, that's technically conclusive. It's just, it's sad. And, you know, maybe that was the point.
It's depressing.
Maybe that's the point, because Akechi
Yeah.
didn't really
Maybe-
want there to
I'm
be a
pretty sure it was.
resolution. So, you know,
I just thought of a really sad fan fiction I could write about this, but I'll save that for whenever I write that.
Ah, Jesus. Like, and considering there's like a confirmed, it's pretty much confirmed at this point that there's going to be a Persona 5 Arena. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they like had some DLC or something with Akechi, because
Please.
please,
like,
Please.
please.
I want him to be my main!
I mean, they could totally do that, and there's like more than enough like reason to. But at the same time, they're gonna have to like find up some way to like retcon his death or something.
But the only thing is, they also could just say, okay, we can bring back Minato and Minako if they don't want to, they could bring back Minato and Minako and be able to have Shinji as non-canon characters as downloadable characters. It's just they refuse to do that.
Persona 4 Arena, wasn't Marie not even in the story?
She was
in Arena.
In Ultimate
fuck!
Cinemas.
I can't use that as an excuse to bring him back.
Son of a bitch. It's like
for some
the
thing
reason,
with Atlas is like everything
they do
canon. Has to be canon.
They have to be canon in order to bring back, and that doesn't make any sense. So it's like if they abandon that rule, then we can have Minato, we can have Minako, we can have Shinji, we can have Akechi.
If only.
If they just have to abandon that rule.
Fucking how many fighting games ignore that kind of rule? Look at Mortal Kombat.
I think the only other one that does embrace that rule is Soul Calibur.
Street Fighter.
Soul Calibur 2.
Soul Calibur.
Because it's like,
Soul Calibur.
Embrace the rule that they have to be canon to be usable.
Fuck that shit.
I hate that.
I just want to play as my favorite person of all time.
And
he's a fucking dork.
You also want to and to be fair to Lester, I want to be able to have Minato, you, and Akira clashing blades all on the cover. That would be such a cool
God,
fuck
yes. If only.
But yeah, instead we have to have...
We get center stage.
We have to see Yu Narukami shirtless, standing with a really angry face. Which, I still like that cover, but, yeah.
So stupid.
It's funny, though. But yeah, ultimately, I liked all the different confidants in the game. I think the stories around them were pretty unique. But let me ask you this, Lester. As someone who was not spoiled about it, did you think the Igor twist was super, super cool? Super, like,
yes.
Whoa!
Cool.
Like, that was, like, something that I never expected, and it just surprised me, and I was, like, really, like, amazed that's something that happened, honestly.
Yeah, and then if you go back through the game, you noticed, the way that he doesn't even mention the wild card. The way that he doesn't...
there's so many, like, subtle hints that and you would never suspect it at first, and, like, he can't do his own fusion, he relies on Justine and Caroline. And...
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a lot of different hints, especially how they use Caro and Justine as basically just them to fuse the personas. Also, what do you guys think of what was her name when they fused? Lavenza. I didn't like that. I thought she was boring.
She was there for like 5 minutes, dude.
I mean, she didn't get enough screen time for them.
She was kind of cute, but she didn't get much. For the little that we saw of it,
I just want Justine to saw me off with the fucking chainsaw.
I love Carol and Justine.
Jesus.
They were fun. They were fun. I liked them a lot more than Margaret. I like Elizabeth better, but just because I think she has a better
Elizabeth's the best.
I like Elizabeth, twins, Theodore, Margaret. That's
Margaret.
Oh yeah, Theodore too.
Margaret sucks.
Always forget about Theodore.
Theo's cool. He's cute. I like him.
He's great.
Oh, and Q, I love him.
I just love how all the Velvet siblings just interact with each other.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Lavenza and Margaret are probably going to be the boring ones.
We have somebody to put underneath Margaret. I can't believe it.
Jeez.
But yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a shame because Lavenza loses the Caroline side of her, and it just...
It's...
I am now calm and collective.
I'm now calm and collective.
If she had a bit more of an attitude, then I would have liked her a lot more.
The softer side of Justine, while also passive-aggressive, but also the directly aggressive side of Caro. It's like, if you literally combined all the aspects, it would make a very inconsistent personality, but also very entertaining at the same time. That could have been really cool. But, they just decided, okay, so if you combine... calm and over the top.
Calm and aggressive, you probably get passive aggressive.
Yeah, but she just ends up just being calm and normal and boring, which is, but whatever. Also, did you guys you guys know that? Have you guys seen the original design? I think I showed you Demiurge. Is technically Yaldabaoth.
Oh right.
Yeah. Which the design is...
I still don't get what's up with that.
I don't know why they changed it, but it is Demiurge.
And how'd they find out about that anyways?
I'm not sure, actually, but it is confirmed to be Demiurge. It is the same person, it's just a different name. And completely
You got
different
shot in the
design.
fucking head, dude. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, those final moments where you lay the final hit on the final boss, it was just.
Okay,
Oh,
you
it's
know,
yummy.
Myriad
Oh,
Troops.
speaking of which, I have a question for you guys.
Hmm?
Who do you think would win a fight now? Makoto? Or not Makoto, Minato? You? Or Akira?
Akira.
Yes.
Yeah, he has a
Whatever.
lot more physical ability.
Yes! Akira would win?
Oh, no, Minato.
No.
Minato would still win because he
Yeah,
still
Minato's-
has fusion spells.
He's technically also the Messiah, so.
Yeah, he also has access
But-
to, what was the spell that allows you
But
to
Akira has a gun.
Yeah, but
True.
but technically Minato does too. Technically Minato does
Yeah.
too. But
Oh yeah, you're right, but he doesn't have
but
to shoot
he
him in the
also
head.
doesn't have the ability.
Oh,
I
he'll shoot
forgot what the
himself in
skill
the head.
was, but if you combine,
Don't do Akira's job for him.
I forgot what the skill was, but if you combine like Hellel and Lucifer or Satan in Persona 3, you get access to one of the
You get Armageddon.
Armageddon, which is way more powerful than anything Akira and you have. So
Yep.
Minato would still win. Also,
Oh, you're-
let's
you're
just
right,
all
but
agree.
I like my argument better. He has a gun.
Okay, the moment where he
gun.
shot,
Hey, it took
the moment where he got the gun, shot Yalda both in the face. It is the most satisfying ending blow.
It's
Oh,
the best way to
he
finish off a final boss ever.
He just shut him up.
I remember, I was just like, yes! That was another
That
moment
was
that I freaked out
satisfying.
my parents about. Oh, I was so enthusiastic when that moment happened.
It's funny because Yaldabov says, "Ha, so you did not contain the power to." Oh. And then all of a sudden, something else.
LOL, nah, bro.
Nah.
Oh shit!
I also...
Oh, I fucked up.
Am I the only one who didn't use it for several seconds just because I wanted to hear our beginnings?
It's a great
Oh, yeah.
song.
I loved our beginnings, which made up for the fact that Yalda both is boring, and we talked about that earlier. So, but yeah, our beginnings is a great track. It's up there with Burn My Dread Last Battle. I like Burn My Dread Last Battle just a little bit more, but our beginning is
Probably 'cause
so climactic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely was a really cool part of the game. The ending is more or less Persona 4's ending, except everybody goes
This
on
one felt a lot more satisfying.
Yeah, it was a lot less bittersweet.
And I thought Izanagi no Okami's thing was impressive at the time, but like
This one,
after seeing, Satanile,
yeah,
it's just pillage him.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna summon him on New Game Plus and just marry him.
Mhm.
Wait, what? You can have
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He's a lot smaller though. Sadly.
That's disappointing. I want to have this thing just clip through the floor.
That just bring it to Kamoshida's castle.
What's up, Kamoshida?
Just kept breaking the entire castle down.
It's the size of the fucking castle.
He's just like, hi, Kamoshida. Shoots him in the face.
Bang!
Just
Oh, wait.
just
that causes
crush
a
the
mental
fucking
breakdown.
castle with your foot. Oh, whoops!
Oh.
Damn it!
Oh, well, it's Kamoshida. Who
Oh
cares?
shit.
No one.
It's
nothing
Kamoshida,
will
he's a
value
piece
his
of-
love. Except he's DC Douglas, meaning that he's absolutely beautiful. Except not, because Kamoshida's a scum, but he's also voiced by DC Douglas, which makes it very conflicting for me, because I definitely love DC Douglas. He's a wonderful man. But, Kamoshida's scum. No, he is a scum.
Fuck Kamoshida.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, we ended up just, we started talking about the dungeons, and we just sort of strayed off a bit, and
Speaking of which, who do you think will, like, out of all the targets that you steal the hearts from, whatever, who do you think was like the evilest?
Shido.
I guess.
Shido.
Hmm.
Because I mean,
I-
Kamoshida was a scum, but he also wasn't manipulating all of Tokyo so that he could go in and basically... Because I think the way that he... Wasn't he trying to cause destruction to basically all of Tokyo and other people?
Nah,
No,
he just
wanted
wanted
his
the
own
people
benefits.
to, like, yeah. He just wanted to be a leader, because he
He
didn't care how
I don't
he
think he really
achieved it.
cared about
Well,
people.
right, it was Yaldabaoth who was gonna destroy everyone after Shido
Yeah.
took over.
Yeah.
But even still, it was like Shido just...
Le-
But he was willing to kill
Shido
so many people. He also screwed up. He also is... Even though Akechi killed him, Futaba's mom, it was Shido who gave the order. He basically just gave the order to a bunch of people to just clean up and, you know, screw up everybody's lives. He was,
And
without a doubt, the worst.
Excluding Shido, like, who else would you think is like, the worst?
Kaneshiro. Because he was... I mean, he's the typical mob boss, so he just screws over everybody's lives. He screwed up a whole lot more than the other people. It's like, Okumura is scum, but I do think that Kaneshiro...
I love
He
his
technically
fight.
hasn't killed anyone, I think.
Did Kaneshiro not kill anyone? I mean, well...
I mean,
No,
I'm talking about
he threatened.
He threatened and he probably would. But he
Uh,
mostly just
I-
screwed over people's lives by taking away all their financial future.
But what I am,
Yeah.
like, as soon as I mentioned this topic, I just remembered Madarame, and like how, when you fight him, he says that he literally let Yusuke's mom suffer from a what was it, a seizure.
That too.
Just let her
That
die.
too.
If it wasn't, I mean, Shido's obviously the number one baddie
Yeah.
here,
Mhm.
but it's either Madarame or Kamishiro.
Yeah.
Futaba is the most evil.
Yes, clearly.
Yes,
Um,
big Pharaoh mother.
Also, Futaba is
Rawr.
probably the most, in my opinion, probably the most developed party member, had the biggest character arc
Definitely.
outside of the social element.
She has a whole palace centered around
Best
her.
girl.
Yes, and I do want to address this for a second, because a lot of people, I understand why people see her as more of a sister and why it wouldn't work as couple. I do think
It could work as both.
I think it can work as both. I think that I can see the family angle because Kaneshiro, or I'm sorry, I'm tongue twisted right now. Sojiro,
God,
Sojiro, shut up! We are not talking about this anymore. Then we have to. But Sojiro, I could see him as a father, and I could see why people say that Futaba is also more of a sister figure. At the same time, I view a lot of these different pairings as an opportunity, or the way that I thought about, because I don't view who I want to go in and marry. That's not how I view it, or it's like, or not marry. Who I want to date. I viewed it as who would the protagonist
Marry.
want to date. Shut up.
Well, technically, you're right about that too.
But even
But
still, it's
yeah,
like
I can understand.
the Persona 5 protagonist. It's like, especially with, it's Futaba likes in terms of common interest. I think about it in terms of common interest, in terms of similar past experiences, and in terms of personality, whether the two actually match. In terms of common interests, Futaba likes games. She likes computer software and all that stuff. And even though he's not really as advanced in terms of computer software, he is much more open than the other Persona 5 or the Persona protagonists to go in, buy a console,
like you
and play
actually
video
fix the
games.
laptop.
He actually even thinks about video game lingos type thing where he uses the button mash prompt on Morgana. It's like he's a little bit more. You could argue that he's a bit more connected
nerd.
in terms of gaming. He's a bit more of a nerd. And I think that they actually can connect on both of that level in terms of personality. Both are... I mean, Futaba opens up a bit more when she actually gets to know people, but for the most part, she's a bit quieter than the rest of the group, I would say. Before she really gets to know everyone, and the Persona 5 protagonist is a bit quieter, and in terms of text options, she mostly doesn't speak as much, and when she does, it's usually some sassy quip. And the Persona 5 protagonist also does the exact same thing. And in terms of past experiences, both were royally screwed up because of adults. In terms of the Persona 5 protagonist, it was he had the whole
Sued by
everything
Damn
that
rat.
happened
I'll
was a result
sue.
as Shido. Because Shido went in and said,
Fuck you, Shido.
you don't need to push me. I'm gonna go and sue you because you pushed me, and you're gonna.
Damn, Brent.
Damn, Brad, I'll sue.
Yeah, but it caused him to have to move away from his
Why?
hometown.
I just love that line.
Yeah, it caused him to move away from his hometown, and it caused him to have a criminal record, and caused him to go through a lot of hell. And same thing with Futaba. It's like, all the adults accused her of being a murderer, and ultimately it sent her into a life of depression, being a shut-in, and not feeling like she can be able to socialize with people.
Apparently, what I've heard is that, like, if you get the bad ending for Futaba's Junden, it's implied that she kills herself.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the implication. And they blame Sojiro for not being a good enough father as well. So you bring down both.
That's fucking dark.
Yeah. It is very
The
dark.
bad endings are all dark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Kaneshiro one, it's implied that, Makoto gets sold off to a brothel.
Yeah, and it's like, it's to the point where she literally could not think for herself, and they ask him who it is, and she can't even contain the information, and she reveals it's the protagonist who is helping.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bad endings in this game are dark.
Jesus
Christ,
they are.
And Haru gets sold off as a sex slave or something, I don't know.
But doesn't she have her fiance?
Sex slave.
Oh.
Yeah, and if you get the bad ending, normally, I mean, it's like they actually do use that animated cutscene.
Oh, so you die.
Yeah. It's like if you go in and if you sell out your partners, they'll play the same animated cutscene where Goro shoots or Akechi shoots the protagonist, except.
Yeah, like another thing they did good, like with the twist to that. Oh shit, is he dead? Did you get the bad ending? Is like the two options are like virtually similar, but like.
I know that they ask you if you're sure about your answer, and that's fine. But I didn't know that going in.
That was better. That they asked you if you're sure.
Yeah, if they didn't ask me if I was sure, I would call bullshit on that design.
Which that was Persona 4. They really improved on that.
Sucked with that bad
and
ending.
It was a lot
Okay.
better in P5. But yeah.
Persona 4's ending wouldn't give you a prompt if you're sure about it, but also, it was incredibly easy.
To get the bad ending, yeah. Oh, you thought it was easy to get the good ending?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people don't agree with that, because it's like they give you it's like you have 5 different responses and only one answer is correct. And
I think to myself, Nanako, you're the real fucking murderer.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the conversation before, where you have to tell everyone to shut the hell up. And if you don't tell that, then you get the bad ending.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of weird because most of Yu's responses are supposed to be like calm and stuff.
So
the shut the hell up is kind of
But it's like if you choose
surprising.
Any other response, then you're.
I had to replay that part so many times because I didn't look up a guide because I'm stubborn like that.
I looked it up.
And
I have no words.
And yeah, as soon as I just kept on choosing every single dialogue option, is like, is this the one? Nope. Is this the one? Nope. Is this the one? Oh, nope. Everything's covered in fog.
Yep.
Yep. And then P5 makes it a lot better.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like only the second and third option actually matters, because everything else.
I mean, like two. There's technically 2 main bad endings.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's the non-extended one, which you get by just not completing the goal. There's the bad ending that you get for selling them out, or choosing to revert to make the world so that the Phantom Thieves are loved and nobody can think for themselves. Because that's the ultimate theme about this game. It's that
thou art willing to perform all sacrilegious acts for thine own justice.
Yeah,
are you ready to rebel?
The main theme of Persona 5 is related to people not being able to think for themselves. Because ultimately, all of these people, it's like almost every single people, it's like, especially with Kamoshida, people could actually think for themselves and realize that, this guy's doing all of these things to people and not just focus on their own personal game, because they didn't sell Kamoshida out because he was able to give them basically make them set for life if they put up with them. So they did not report him in. But it's like, if they could think for themselves, if they were able to realize about all this stuff, then, you know, he wouldn't have been in power.
Maybe I should actually be a good person.
Yeah, but it's like, and Shido got into power because everyone's just like, oh man, he can speak very strongly.
This guy is really trustworthy.
Very trustworthy.
I'm sure he won't fuck anything up.
Very, very trustworthy. But ultimately,
I'm sure he doesn't sue any damn brats.
Because Persona 3 was about
fucking sue.
And it's like almost a lot of these confidants are related to people not being able to think for themselves. It's just like they say, oh, no good Taro? Everybody says he's no good, so he must be no good. And you actually do his social link, you figure out he didn't do any of that. Which was very effective.
Actually, no, he did some stuff, but he admits it and is trying to grow as a person.
I thought that it was that other people, like, actually other people manipulated.
It's a bit of both, I think. Okay. But, like, he takes his full responsibility for, like, what happened, like, what he did, and, he grows as a person because of it, but nobody's willing to give him a chance anymore. So,
because they're just like, oh, he must be a terrible person, so whatever.
Because he did that shit like 20 years ago.
Yeah. And you see all the different responses, especially with the meter. The 100% meter.
Very satisfying.
It's just people are just like, oh, the Phantom Thieves, they're so good. And you even see stuff like, they should just go in and kill people before that point. And then when they're actually accused of killing people, then nobody sides with them. They're like, oh, they're terrible. They must have killed someone.
Whoa!
It's like the media,
like, what the hell, man?
Because
like, you actually fucking did it. What the fuck, man?
Because honestly, you know, to be fair, there might be some sensible people, but in real life, it's like we do actually.
It's more of like a mob mentality.
Well, but even still, there are people who they hear the news and it's just like, oh, this particular thing was reported. It must be true. Everybody's talking about it. It must be true.
Fake news.
Yeah, but ultimately, that's
fake news.
That's kind of the theme. And you know, to be fair, it's not that far off in terms of
it really isn't
what a lot of people do, and that's why I thought the theme was very interesting. It's like all these different confidants are tied into this main theme. That's not something that always happened in Persona 3 and 4. I mean, how is the gourmet thing, or the gourmet king, connected to death and mortality? It's not.
Farts.
It's not. Just eats food. But you have
diabetes, obesity. Obesity is the number one leading cause of death in America.
Either are revolved around people not being able to think for themselves, or other people in higher positions going in and manipulating other people and just being, you know, shitty adults. So that is the general
people
theme.
Are fucking garbage.
You see that with journalists, I can't remember the name, with the chief inspector. You see that with Chia, whatever, where I didn't finish the whole thing, but I believe someone else was manipulating her and to be able to go in and sell the different orbs, whatever. I can't remember the exact themes of that. I didn't really finish that one. I know that, you know...
I didn't finish Senya. I don't know how he really relates to all this.
Yeah, but, you know, and even Kawakami, the parents who were, well, basically using her guilt as a means to go in, and also using her role to be able to go in and try to pay off the different debts that she owed, actually becoming basically a sex slave in that particular thing. And
sad.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, other adults being shitty and trying to go in and manipulating other people, or people not being able to think for themselves. And those different themes are incorporated in some way in almost every single social link or confidant. And that's something I found very interesting, because that didn't always happen in Persona 3 and Persona 4. There is one thing I want to discuss, though. It's like, I do like the story, and there were tons of moments where I was super pumped, super excited, but I am going to be honest, I did notice how similar the story structure was to Persona 3 and Persona 4. Especially Persona 4. It's like, in terms of story structure, in terms of the basic structure, it's almost identical. Because all three of the last Persona games, they've had, you know, especially Persona 4, they had, you know, I think I'm gonna more so relate to Persona 4. It's like, you had one character goes through a problem, and then you solve that character's problem in that month. They get the party member, and then, you move on to the next month, where another character is introduced, and then you have another particular dilemma that month. You solve it, you move to the next one, and then ultimately it copies that structure up until you get to November or December, where the big twist happens, where it changes the whole thing, and then the last 2 months are spent doing something slightly different, and you take out the main threat, and then, you think you take out the main threat, but then boom! Shin Megami Tensei Demon.
Oh my god.
Humanity is stupid, and we have to go in and take them out. And then the teams, they prove that humanity, they can be able to fend for themselves, and, prove that in Persona 3,
Gotta show
Persona 3 that
humanity's
they do have the
potential.
will to live, and that mortality doesn't matter to them. In Persona 4, they can reach out to the truth. They don't have to be able to settle for false lives. And in Persona 5, these guys can think for themselves. They can be able to go in and decide.
How many? Man,
who
gods are
should-
fucking assholes.
Yeah.
Gods are
How
assholes, you're right.
many times do we have to prove that humanity is worthy of being left alone?
Yep.
Because they're always downing us, we have to shoot them in the fucking head.
Yep.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's like, and this is in a vague sense, because, each game has a different thematic and different characters and a slightly different structure, maybe a little bit of a different overarching structure, but each Persona game has the exact same structure. And in terms of how the social links works, aside from tweaking some things, a lot of Persona 5 has been making adjustments. And, that's fine for Persona 5. I wasn't really bothered by it. I noticed it, and it's like for a Persona 6, I think we need something to change the formula. Because a lot of these things... I know some people think that demon negotiation is a little too easy in this game.
What? No.
Some people think
it's
that...
just right.
I think it was just right, in my opinion.
I don't have to fucking beg my goddamn wallet out to these stupid demons
Yeah,
to join
seriously.
my party.
Yeah,
Like, why would you
Jesus
ever want it to
fucking
be like
Christ, I
regular
hated it in
SMT?
4.
there are people who want it to be more like...
Not everything has to be SMT.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
for real.
Some people...
I mean,
Oh, I got really angry there.
But yeah,
Like, I don't want to give this demon my life stone and just have him run away from with it.
that kind of irritated me in
Hey.
before.
It's like,
Hey, give me a
SMT4
life
is like,
stone.
hey, give me a life stone. Hey, give me another
give me a
life
life
stone.
Hey,
Hey.
give me a shit ton of money.
Give me a revival bead.
I know in Persona 5, some
Yes,
people think
is
that
that
it's
Soma?
a little too much on the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's a little too easy. Especially, and I do think that when you get Yoshida, it does get very easy when you get...
Yeah, it becomes a...
Because,
yeah.
you can say, join my cause, and then they'll join your cause, and you skip the negotiation completely. Aside from that, which, they could probably take that out. Aside from that...
But even then, Yoshida's choices, they don't really appear, like, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, and ultimately, for the most part, I didn't mind
Maybe
it.
they should think for themselves.
I didn't mind. I think the demon negotiation, maybe it can use a few tweaks, like giving better money and items.
It was fun.
Because they didn't give you too many reasons to use the money or items as much. Because the money that they give you wasn't too much, and the items that they give you normally aren't all that worth it. Aside from, if you want to really get a blank card, but you could also have Futaba's ability to be able to just steal it without doing the negotiation. So, aside from that, I think more or less the system is pretty much refined. So honestly, in a Persona 6, I hope that they change the story structure and, offer a lot of changes. Maybe even, have a different combat system, maybe change the social link structure. I don't know. It's like...
It's gonna be an action RPG.
you think action RPG? I do...
I'm kidding, but I wouldn't mind it. I would actually really love
I
it.
know a lot of people would say that it would deviate a little bit too much, but honestly, I think the series needs...
Have you?
Well,
Okay.
granted, I think-
Have you
I
seen
think-
Devil Summoner? Or is it Devil
Raito
Summoner?
Kazunuma?
Yeah.
It's the Raito games. I took a look into them because I was interested enough because I heard it was action RPG and the music is fucking great. But
I love the
that,
entrance to the game.
It looks so clunky for an action RPG. It looks worse than Final Fantasy 12.
Really?
At least to me, anyway. But that's
I
all.
haven't
That's
seen
also
anything.
me.
I haven't played it myself, so I'd have to play it for myself before I judge, but...
Yeah.
Just from screenshots and gameplay that I've seen, the interest went from nothing to cool, I'll try it out, to back to, I'm good. But what I'm trying to say is, I think Atlas could do an action RPG.
I think they could, and that was
like
also
an actual action.
That
RPG.
was also not the Persona studio.
I don't know. I think the way the Persona 4 handles combat. I mean Persona 5 had. And the way they handle the combat.
I'm not dissing on Persona 3 through 5's combat. I think this is also really good. But I'm just saying I wouldn't mind a change.
I wouldn't mind a change because honestly, I don't think that it can improve all that much. Maybe they can add a few mechanics here and there, but I don't want the series to get stale. I want it to be constantly improving, and because Atlas really loves trying to be able to create different gameplay experience, and not just create the same kind of games over and over again. They love improving, offering new kinds of experiences, and I think this is the last time they can really have that sort of thing, because honestly, I don't see much else to really improve too much. They've already improved a lot on these dungeons, brought back a lot more.
Just like, don't pull a Final Fantasy 13.
What's wrong with Final Fantasy 13 again?
Everything.
Okay.
I could go on a list. Yeah, I could go on a list, but I'd rather not.
Alright, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, and it's fine. Ultimately, it's like maybe, and the counter argument is it would be too much of a change. It would alienate fans. So I'd like to see how Atlas would be able to innovate the series while also not alienating everybody at the same time. So I'm very interested to see what they could really do in the future. But ultimately, I think Persona 5 is, as it stands, it's Atlas's best game. I loved it so much. The last thing I want to discuss, because we did not talk much about the soundtrack too much. Did we talk? Rivers in the Desert and Last Surprise are my favorites.
Creating rivers in the desert.
I love Lynn's tracks. Lynn's tracks are great. I love the instrumental.
Lynn's a great singer. Oh wait, we haven't talked about the credits theme. That is, I loved. I can't put it into words, but it's just amazing. I love it so much. The way it sounds, the lyrics. Oh.
I loved it a whole lot too. At the same time, I also am of the opinion that it's probably around the middle in terms of my favorite Persona credits themes. I still prefer 3, 4 just a bit, but I do like 5 all the same.
It's a great track.
But I assume, Lester, you prefer Persona 5s over... Is that your new favorite?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, fair enough. Fear.
I'm just a sucker for the way it sounds, honestly.
That's fine.
I'm like... What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Persona 5 credits theme.
Credits? This is my favorite, with 3 just, like, trying to nudge in there for first place. I'm sorry, buddy, but nostalgia can only hold you for so long.
I still prefer 3's credits theme.
I love 3's credits theme so much, though.
I can't speak Japanese.
Yeah. I mean, they're Japanese and Lynn's in the Persona 5 too, yeah. Anyways, I do, I mean, if you guys want to be able to go in and talk about something else, I think, for the most part, I've covered most of what I wanted to say.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot what.
Don't you love that?
Well, remember, Sonny. Remember, Sonny.
Well, if you both have, or Lester, I'll give you 5 seconds to remember. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, perfect. Anyways, I love you. Anyways, if there's nothing else you want to say, I think it's time to be able to end this very long discussion. I hope you all enjoyed. And
this game is good.
This game is good. It's very good. It's excellent.
It's a very good game.
It's excellent. It's amazing. It's perfect.
I hate Persona.
Yes, we all know how much you absolutely hate Persona. That's why Persona 5 is your game of the year. Oh wait.
Yeah, fuck off all of you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I love Minato Arisato.
I love Goro Kenshi, my pancake baby.
Delicious pancakes!